Hi everyone, I am Balaji Chipada and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In continuation of our SQL series, in this video, we are going to learn everything that is there about SQL table normalization. Without any delay, let's get started. In the previous video, we have learned about primary keys and foreign keys by understanding about this example, right? But I haven't taught you on how you can split this big data into smaller tables. There are certain rules in which if you follow those, you will be able to split these tables much easily. So that is what normalization will talk about. So at a high level, normalization is a technique in which you split your big table into smaller tables such that you avoid data duplication and data redundancy, and it will be easier to store the data in much smaller formats as well. And normalization will also help you in making updates to record easier because we have multiple smaller tables, and it is easier to keep a history of record over time, and it will also reduce the risk of data entry, and it will drastically improve your performance. And one more thing is, there should be a link between all of these tables so that you can get the information of your primary table. So in this video we will understand how you can split this table into multiple. At a high level, let's understand what are the different types of normalization techniques. We have 1NF, which is the first normal form, 2NF, second normal form, and 3NF, third normal form. So these are all the primary normal forms in which you have to follow to split your big data into smaller tables. And if you get your table into 3NF form, that means it's already good. But even after that, if you feel like there is some data duplication redundancy, you will consider about these other normal forms: BCNF, 4NF, 5NF, and 6NF. Mostly I will be talking about 1NF, 2NF, and 3NF in this video, and that is good enough for majority of the cases. Now let's talk about first normal form. So consider this is my original table I have, in which the column names, physical address, movies that the person rented, and the saluation. Saluation is basically either Mr., Mrs., or Miss, or Doctor. It could be anything. It is just a representation. So in the first record, I have a person called Janet Jones and the address of this person, and she has rented two movies, Pirates of Caribbean and Clash of Titans. Okay, and the saluation is Miss. And in the second record, I have Robert Phil and the address of Robert Phil, and he also rented two movies, Forgetting Sarah Marshall and Daddy's Little Girls, and the saluation is Mr. And again I have Robert Phil, but notice his address is different. That means he is another person who is living at Fifth Avenue. So both of these are different even though the names are same. And he rented only one movie, which is Clash of Titans, and the saluation is Mr. So what one enough will tell you is each table cell should contain a single value. Each record needs to be unique. If you see here in this movies rented column, I have two movies that this person rented. I don't want to have data like this if you want to convert your table into one enough. So what I would do is I would convert this into this format in which I have Janet Jones, the person address, and the movie that she rented. I am only taking the first movie and the saluation. And because this person is having two movies as rented, I'm going to create one more row for the same person with the other movie that she rented. Hopefully that is clear. And similarly, I have Robert Phil who is having two movies rented. So I created two rows for that person. And I have another Robert Phil who has only rented only one movie, and I have this saluation. So this is my original data. By applying the rules of 1NF, I was able to convert this into this kind of data. So you can say that this is one normal form data. And moving ahead, we have to apply 2NF rule and 3NF rule as well, and we will learn in a bit. Hopefully you understood the essence of 1NF. Now let's talk about 2NF, second normal form. The rules are very simple. The table should already be in the 1NF, and the second rule is you should start incorporating primary and secondary keys, or maybe foreign keys. You have learned about primary key, foreign key, and composite key in the previous video, right? And if you haven't watched that video, I will be linking that video on top of this video. Please do check it out. So what I did is I split my movie into two different tables, in which I split all the movies rented into another table, and I have given membership ID, and then I have all the information of the person in another table, and I have these two linking with a membership ID column. So by looking at this, I can say that Janet Jones is a person who is living at this address, and the valuation is Miss, and the membership ID is 1. If you see in this table, I have two records with membership ID as 1, right? That means she rented both of these movies, Pirates of Caribbean and Clash of Titans. Hopefully you understood that. So what 2NF at a high level will tell you is you have to start incorporating primary key and foreign key and composite key techniques. So I split the data into two different tables. Here this is my primary key because it is unique, and here it is a foreign key because this data is already present in my original table or first table, which is already acting as a primary key. Hopefully that is clear. Now let's talk about transitive functional dependency. In the previous slide, we have seen how you can split into 2NF format, right? So I have taken the first table of the 2NF, and if you look at this carefully, so this is your primary key of this table, and these are the other columns: full names, physical address, and salutation. So what transitive functional dependency is: when changing a non-key column might cause any other non-key columns to change. Now let's understand. So this is a primary key. All of these are called non-key columns. And here, let's say, if I change the value of Robert Phil to maybe, let's say, Jyoti, and here I need to change the salutation, right? Jyoti is a female name, and I would have to either give Miss or Mrs., right? So if there is a change in a non-key column, if it will return in changing any other non-key column, that means there is a transitive functional dependency in your table. And what 3NF will say is you have to be in 2NF, and you need to eliminate transitive functional dependency. What we do in this scenario is I would split the solution into another table called table 3. Let's understand that. So what 3NF will say is the table should be already in 2NF, and none of the tables should have transitive functional dependencies. So what I did is I split the solution into solution table as well. So if you look at it, I have member ID, I have the name, address, and the solution ID. And this solution ID is a foreign key. Why is it a foreign key? Because in the table named solution table, this is acting as a primary key, and this is a column in which it is referring to this primary key. So this is called a foreign key to this table. Okay, so because the value is 2, I get to see that Janet Jones solution is miss, and here this is a primary key, and here this is a foreign key. And if you look at this one, I have one here and I have one and one here. If I have to link all of these tables, I would be linking like this. I have member ID 1, Janet Jones, physical address, and the solution 2. Solution 2 means the solution is miss, and because member ID is 1, she has rented two movies, Pirates of Caribbean and Clash of Titans, and these could be your primary key in this table. Hopefully that is clear. So if you have applied all of these rules, 1NF, 2NF, and 3NF, you would be splitting your table into multiple tables in which you have primary keys, foreign keys, composite keys, and there should not be any transitive dependencies. So by doing this, you will be able to normalize your tables. If all of these tables combinedly follow these three rules, 1NF, 2NF, and 3NF, you can confidently say that your database is normalized. Hopefully that is clear. And we have the remaining normal forms as well. which is 4NF, 5NF, and 6NF. And usually, if your table is already 3NF normalized, there might not be a need of 4NF, 5NF, and 6NF. But if you still feel that even though your table is in 3NF and there might be some columns in which you can split into multiple tables, then you can call them as 4NF and 5NF and 6NF. So the primary goal of normalization is, by using the concepts of primary key, foreign key, and composite key, divide your bigger table into multiple tables so that you avoid data duplication and to make links between all of these tables to have a particular value. And that's all for this video, guys. Hopefully you understood the essence of 1NF, 2NF, and 3NF, and how you can split a bigger table into smaller chunks so that you have your whole database normalized. Hopefully you learned something new in this video, and if you are liking what you are watching, please do subscribe and click that bell icon to get notified daily. We will meet in the next video. Bye bye.